Going into next year, we're not going to count anybody drafted. Going into next year, based on age, momentum, health, head coach, who are the 10 best quarterbacks going into next year? We count your coordinator. We count your head coach. We count your health, your current momentum. Here we go, 1 through 10. Number 1 is obvious. It's Patrick Mahomes. Let's not waste any time. The most passing yards and touchdown passes in a 5-season span in league history. No reason to debate it. He was virtually perfect in the second half. Yes, he's got Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, but this was a bit of a makeshift receiving corps, and his only incompletion in the second half was a throwaway out of the end zone. He was never sacked. That, by the way, was one of his great completions. Patrick Mahomes, an easy number 1. Number 2, Joe Burrow. I thought he eclipsed a couple of young quarterbacks this year. Highest completion percentage in league history. The only quarterback in the league that I think situationally, big third down, fourth down, can play in Mahomes' sphere. And he's reached the AFC Championship in each of his 2 healthy seasons. Burrow is here for the long term. He's 2. I'm going to move Trevor Lawrence up to 3. He gets now Calvin Ridley, a second year in Doug Peterson's system, 7-2 over his last 9 games with a passer rating at 105. There were arguments, if you just take away that first half in the Chargers playoff win where he was dreadful, he was as good as anybody not named Mahomes or Burrow in the last 7 or 8 games of the season. I think with Ridley another year in the system, he's number 3. I think Kellen Moore's a huge hire for the Chargers. Justin Herbert moves up to 4. By the way, here's a stat you may pay attention to. Do you know he has the most passing yards and touchdown passes in 3 years, the first 3 years in the league? More than Mahomes, more than any player in league history. They just can't get the head coaching perfect yet. The O-line was bad early. I think Kellen Moore is the coordinator that gets the absolute best out of Justin Herbert. 5, Josh Allen. He regressed. There's too many mistakes. Now, again, he's got a howitzer. He and Mahomes have 35-plus touchdown passes in each of the last 3 seasons. So he can go uptown and give you the greatness of Mahomes, but he simply isn't as good situationally. I don't think he's getting the coaching. He doesn't have the offensive line support, and he pulled back this year. Number 6, and now it gets close. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts because I think he's a little bigger than you think. He's become a better passer. I thought he was arguably, and this is with Mahomes, the best player in the Super Bowl. I mean, he was unbelievable with his legs. I think Mahomes is better, obviously, and by a gap. But I think Jalen Hurts, 375 yards. His defense, special teams, and run game let him down, and he went to the last series against Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty good. Jalen Hurts, 6. This is where it gets real tight. I'll go Stafford. Now, remember, Stafford, they had 98 games missed due to injury on this roster, most in the league. The team fell apart. They had 13 different offensive lines, most in the league. This guy won a Super Bowl a year ago and outdueled Joe Burrow in it. Stafford's really good. He's very expensive. There's stories the Rams are getting frustrated. They'd like to redo his contract, and he was beat up this year, but he's a world-class arm talent, very good in big games, home, away, lead, trailing. You get the same guy usually. I would put Aaron Rodgers 8. He had a bad year by Aaron standards, 91 passer rating. Some of it's young receivers, but he's not committed in the offseason. I also think Aaron has slowly, and we saw this pre-Jordan Love, I just don't think he's good enough now to not totally commit year-round, and he's not. Their O-line was excellent. Aaron Jones, excellent, good enough at tight end. Christian Watson emerged. Aaron needs to be better. You got to commit to the offseason because Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert, Lawrence, Allen, Jalen Hurts are. He's at 8. Number 9, Lamar Jackson. Listen, I'm concerned too, but he wins 75% of his starts. He has the second highest win percentage among all active quarterbacks behind only Patrick Mahomes. He's dynamic. He's a game changer. He is one of the hardest guys in the league to prepare for. But he hasn't been great in the playoffs. I worry about his health. But to deny he's not a top 10 quarterback, I'm sorry. You can't win 74% of your games in this league in that division. and tell me you're not a top 10 quarterback. And number 10, it's weird, but Jared Goff was outstanding down the stretch. He was unbelievable. 15 touchdowns and no picks in the last 2.5 months. Ben Johnson returns. Listen, you could say, well, he's got a good O-line. Yeah, he does. I'm counting that. Great OC, great O-line, 2 capable running backs. I thought he had a great year. Number 4 in total offense. Better at home than on the road. Better in a clean pocket than a muddy one. But I think, listen, he's a former number 1 pick for a reason. He's a talented guy. I've always said he's like Matt Ryan with a much better arm. And Matt Ryan with an MVP. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.